Lane Kiffin strikes once again. He was supposed to come to USC, Lane Kiffin. That was in my script, but your script is working out right now. We don't know if you'll leave LSU for a new job. That's what the haters say about you, but I think you might stay. Don't leave Ed hanging high to dry like you did at other school. But leaving all those players to dry. But he brings in Ed to recruit other players on his roster. Lane might recruit your daughter on his roster. Not the football roster, but I'm just saying. But if you don't know anything about Ed being a recruiter, he's one of the best recruiters in college football history. Been doing it a long time. Recruited all those. Joe Burrow even said like, "Hey, I know about your recruiting tactics, but it was really the Buffalo Bills' new head coach. What's his name? Bill Joe Brady. Joe Brady was it was that really was the inkling for Joe Burrow to come to LSU, but he was like, "Hey, I know your recruiting tactics. I don't want no part." But hey, Joe Brady was there. He said the offense is cool. Let's do it. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards Hilaire in the backfield. They were going crazy. Made a 15-0 season. And that's what everybody looking right now. Can we have a season like LSU? That's what all the teams are looking at right now. Texas A&M, maybe Lenore Sellers and those boys. They can put but that's like the blueprint. Can we do a 16-0 season, have 50 touchdowns? Or that's what the college football fans are yearning for, just to see something that is exciting on the field again. So hopefully we can see that from maybe Arch this year, but it's going to be a long shot. Maybe Miami could do it this year too with Darian Mensah and Malachi Tony in there, and then you still keep Mark Fletcher in the backfield, so it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3 punch in there. Darian Mensah, Tony, and Fletcher. So I got big hopes for Miami and what they're going to do, but. He hurt my heart because a couple months ago, a lot of USC fans, it's the off season. They're just going to do what they do. But they were like, "Hey, Ed, come back," or just some recruiters that we can name because they're all under like Pete Carroll is he was the head coach, but it was like Lane Kiffin, Sark, maybe Ed Orgeron in there. I'm probably forgetting a couple other coaches, but no, they're all now head coaches. But that's kind of the tree, and they're all West Coast boys. But Texas, it doesn't work if it doesn't work out for Sark in Texas. It doesn't work out for Lincoln and USC. Hey man, Sark is a LA guy. Well, not a LA guy, or he's a California guy. I would say went to BYU, but he did want to be recruited to USC. But that's the top job. That's the job everybody wanted, and I feel like Urban Meyer, if he were to coach again, if there were somebody to lose 5 to 6 games, maybe 4 games this year, maybe Urban says, "Hey, come pick me up." That's what I'm fingers crossed. But I'm hoping Lincoln has a good season this year. So we'll see what happens with USC's roster. But if you don't know anything about, like I said before, if you don't know anything about Ed Orgeron is recruiting, this is the video of how he recruited or how he tried to get Adrian Peterson to commit to USC. So if you tune in right now, thank you so much. Go ahead and do what all the YouTubers say. I'm not going to say it. But we're gonna get into this little clip, and then we get right back
Who
to it.
broke your heart? Is there one that stands out?
Oh, Adrian Peterson.
Oh,
Man, I loved him. I loved Adrian.
Oklahoma offered a better package to him.
This is a true story. We go down to see Adrian, me and Pete, and his mother ran track at, I think it was at Houston. Wonderful lady. And Adrian and I had a great relationship. He loved Pete Carroll, but I felt like he and I were very tight. One time he says, "Coach, I went to this school." He says, "Coach, I want you to follow me." I couldn't drive with him. We went 30 miles. I said, "I didn't know where we were going." We stopped at this little country store, and he bought a gingerbread cookie. I couldn't buy it for him for supper.
So it was so cool, man. Like, I was gonna get into this a little bit later, but just being a USC fan, being from California, like I appreciate just hearing how these people talk about football, how the love for football they have, and just the communities like LSU, Ohio State, Tennessee, all Michigan even, but they're always there for their games. Like Tennessee, it's always packed out, or Wisconsin. I know it's the only thing in town, and I know California. Like I should be kind of grateful, but I just wish there was more like football heads in California that were like diehard. Will go represent their team, because you see how UCLA and USC sometimes are with the stadium. There's not a lot of fans in there. It's like minimal people online, like, hey, like, supporting the team. And you see, like, I get it. Alabama's like the only thing in town that's booming. So everybody's going to talk. There's more people talking about it. But I appreciate, just seeing all those communities just appreciate football like that, man. So shout out Ed.
And
That's
then
what I
we
like.
went to a basketball game, and we sat in the gym, and I said, "What are we doing?" He said, "You see that guard right there? I got to play him next week. Coach, come and scout him." How about that? Then I said, "Well, Adrian, what is the key to getting you here at USC?" He says, "Coach, well, Bob Stoops, my dad is incarcerated. Bob Stoops won't see him." Well, me and Pete Carroll tried to go get him and to go see him. They wouldn't let us in. But Adrian said, "Coach, my dad is be able to watch my games where he's at. Well, if I go to Oklahoma." I tried to get the guy transferred to Los Angeles.
Wait, you tried to get Adrian's dad?
Yeah, that's right.
Bro, I love this story, bro. Like, yeah, hey, by any means necessary, we going. But that just showed you what kind of pull USC kind of have too. Like, hey, bro, like, make this transfer real quick. Get him in the jails, because hey, on Saturdays you're gonna be seeing this boy Raw. Adrian Peterson does his thing for Oklahoma. I think he wins the Heisman. Does his thing in the league. Has so many highlights. I love that highlight reel against the Steelers where he just moshing the dude and just you see all the rage just come out this mouth. Just chill. But yeah, if you know, Adrian Peterson rocked the hell out of that dude from the Steelers, and it just makes you go run through a brick wall. Makes you want to go play 30 AU football.
How does that happen?
I competed. Couldn't get it done, but I competed.
Man, to go get your daddy.
Joining us now
Out of prison,
to talk
yeah.
about everything going on
Apple low-key
in
didn't
the NBA is a man who's
Okay, Rich,
reporting
goddamn.
just so good.
Rich, I love you, but you gotta shut up right now, okay? I'm doing a video, Rich. But yeah, I love Ed Orgeron. I wish we could have got him as USC coach, y'all. It's our head coach, but him and Lane do have history from USC. I don't know if I said that already, but Lane was fired at USC, fired on the tarmac, and then Ed Orgeron becomes head coach of USC, and then he gets fired. Sark was in there for a minute too, like that, like seeing all those boys go and then having the success they did. It's just, as a USC fan, you just gotta be like, damn, like but he did lead them to their 15-0 season. And there's some videos out there with him and Richard Anderson, chopping it up, getting in. He's been visiting a lot of programs in the off season, so a lot of programs be like, come be our head coach or come be a part of our staff. The fans in the comments, they're gonna do what they do, try to get that boy there. But yeah, it didn't end so good with him at LSU as well. But he only won 11 games his last 2 years at LSU. And so everybody was like, well, even I was questioning, like, what happened? Like, did he just stop recruiting? Did he, like, I know the players left, Jamar left, Justin Jefferson left, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, so many players drafted. Shout out Braden Fehoko and what he's doing on the X Twitter thing, but he's doing his thing. I love seeing what his family was doing. Looking back at it, I'm like, damn, like, that's Braden Fehoko. Like, I don't know, that it's kind of weird seeing like that person then and then how they are now, I guess. But that's just life. So we just gonna watch a little video of how Ed Orgeron is, or just how he operated, because I love seeing these, like I said before, I love seeing these communities and just how they like how football is the only thing booming, it's your way out, or it's just that's the only thing there. So this is kind of a video on Ed Orgeron. So if you want to leave, hop out, I get it. But if you want to tune in, stay with me for some commentary and for some love, I thank you.
Back in the bayou, baby.
Down by the river I fall.
I know this is the horns, but
Catch my breath.
damn, I feel like doing it.
Every morning, I
Go
understand you
Tigers.
go out on the balcony and overlook the field and pray and just remain grateful for this opportunity that that guardian angel in the sky gave you. That happens, huh?
Every morning at 6 o'clock, I'm out there, and I thank God for the opportunity I have to lead this great university, this great state, coach these men, and ask for the guidance to lead them in the right way.
I want to go back to growing up there in Bayou Lafourche. Your dad had a vegetable stand and he worked on tugboats.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
what was it like for young Bebe?
Yeah.
Shout out Tim Brando, man, doing his thing. I like him on the podcast when he giving his opinions sometimes, just like an old head. He kind of remind me, I don't like Feinbaum so much. I just, once you hear the Feinbaum show, you just listen to the callers and be like, damn, they really love football down there. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. They just love football, too much, a little too much. That's why Paul Feinbaum shows the reason why it just means more. If you hear the callers on there, man, and like that's the reason why it just means more, man. Like, but
Growing up in
yeah,
that
shout out
part,
to
the
him.
waterways,
Yeah.
the Gulf of Mexico, all that.
But my bad for pausing it. This will probably be like not my last time, but but yeah, Tim Brando when he calls the games and stuff, he be sounding a little, gotta. I don't know him and the other. There was like it's him and this other black guy, and I don't want to be like that, but it just seemed like a weird combo to me. It doesn't because they always be arguing. Tim Brando, that like he'll be like, oh that was a flag right there, and it won't be a flag. Like it won't even be a hold. Or he was the guy. It would be. I remember it was one game, and the dude caught it inbounds, and Tim Brando said no, he didn't catch it inbounds, and it was clearly he caught it inbounds. And the dude, his co-host was like, "Nah, like, like it was inbounds, Brando." And Brando was like, "Firm, like he wasn't backing his ground on it, like, like some other, like no, like just some old heads, You can't tell some old people like that they wrong. So that's how Tim Brando was. But I don't really like that combo. I like other combos, but that one just weird.
That was going on
Yeah.
growing up.
It was fantastic. It was a tough way of living. Mom and Daddy always worked for a living. The vegetable stand helped me.
And I don't want to say like it's because of race or nothing. Like let's just dead that right now. It's not because of race. It just may be because of old generation and just a younger guy or just different culture. Yeah, we ain't doing none around here,
Recruit,
buddy.
come on over here, get some vegetables as a young kid. I grew up a rich man in my mom and daddy's house. They taught me how to compete. They taught me how to worldly things. They taught me how to go to school, wanted education, and play football. I loved it. So my dad taught me how to coach. And I wanted to coach since I was 6 years old. I wanted to be a leader. And we were raised in a town where football was king. And I'd watch LSU football. I'd watch LSU football. I'd watch LSU football and want to become like.
Right.
And it was just a tremendous time growing up. I got to tell you a story about my mother, because I look just like her.
Coco.
And it's where I get my enthusiasm from.
Yeah.
So we're playing a big game. We had South Lafourche, and then maybe in the quarterfinals of my junior year. We're on the way to state championship. And I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I smell breakfast, but it was different. It was fried shrimp. I wake up and said,
Bro, I'm missing out on some good food. Like I just need to take a plane trip and go to an LSU game and get some good food. That's all I hear is about the food down there. Man, that gumbo looking.
that's fried shrimp. She's not cooking
Thanks
already.
about game season, man.
All of a sudden, she bangs on the door. She
Game
has my
time,
football
buddy.
helmet on. She has pom-poms in one hand and a shrimp po' boy in the other hand. Let's go, boy. We got to win tonight.
You come to LSU, it's got to be a dream come true for your family as much as for you.
Everybody, you know that? When you sign with LSU or the boy from Louisiana, it's a big deal.
What happened?
I spent 2 weeks here. I had never been away from home. And we went to New Orleans when we were young. We had to bring a change of clothes. It was so far away. It was only an hour away, but that was huge for us. You know, we had never been away from home. I'd never been away from my parents. So it was an adjustment. They moved me from defense to offense. I got homesick. I went home. And Dad said, okay. The next day, man, he wakes me up at 6 o'clock, knocks on and said, let's go to work. And he worked at LaFouche Telephone Company, and he had a good job. And he put me digging ditches on the side of the road. And I'll never forget, the people were slow.
There's this one story. I don't know if you guys seen SEC stories, or I think it's a history of the SEC. It's like about each decade of SEC football and what happened. It's really good. It's on ESPN Plus if y'all have it. But there is this one story of this LSU player, and I think he got like first round offers, or he was drafted in the first round, second round, something like that, from LSU. And he said, just the nighttime lights or just the culture around LSU, he didn't want to go to the NFL because LSU was just it for him. And you see how what's it called? Ed Orgeron talks about LSU. He loves it. He said, we'll get to it. I'll probably skip ahead, but he says after he wins a championship, he goes around on his boat showing the championship to all the LSU people down in the bayou, and it's like that's all they want down there. That's like you're like the president pretty much. I always say all the time, if Nick Saban were to run for governor or run for the governor of Alabama, he would win. We all know this. Like, it's just common sense. Maybe they're not using some common sense down there, but we all know, hey, they're gonna vote that man into office. AJ McCarron even was what was it, being a commentator, showing up on other people's podcasts. Then he wanted to be a politician, and then now he's a head coach for the Birmingham. Like, my goodness, y'all just doing everything in Alabama. That's how y'all want to run it. But yeah, just hearing stories like that it's just like, wow, like, college football is really different. 100,000 people. That could be some stories like that for some Tennessee players or some, Alabama players. Like, hey, this was the pinnacle for me. This is what I wanted out of football. I don't know, maybe he couldn't take another 8 years of hitting people's heads and shoot. Because I know getting my dome ringed in a couple times, I was like, hey, I don't know if I could do this for a career. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it takes some real gladiators to go do that. But yeah, I love hearing stories like that from LSU everywhere.
Down. And they had a couple of expressive words to call me. And it was the worst day of my life.
Let me see.
And my dad just said, dig, keep digging. Yeah. And I spent about 2 or 3 months there, and Bobby Hebert calls me. He says, baby, you want to come to school at Northwestern? I said, hell yeah. Where's it at? I'm coming.
The A and the T was in Natchitoches. I bet you couldn't spell
I couldn't
Natchitoches,
even
Louisiana.
spell Natchitoches, but I'd heard about Northwestern State because Bobby had been there. Wonderful career.
Okay, this is
I
about
think
his
everything
USC
happened
stint a
for me.
little bit. Let me hear about this.
I
Let me hear
love
about
that.
this.
It was
I
one
get
of
it.
the hardest
You
things I
was
ever
a
had
cool
to do
player,
besides
bro.
the day I buried my father. They didn't want me to leave. I became a father.
Oh
To
no.
be the interim.
Let
No,
the
we getting
guys
deep. We
manage
getting
their
deep, y'all.
position. I let the coaches coach. I still motivate. I still recruit, but let them coach.
I want to fast forward now to that period where you were out of coaching, didn't know what was going to happen, and USC happened again. And now you get a chance to be the interim.
Yeah.
And I frankly thought you were going to get that job.
So did I.
Was that a real disappointment? Maybe the low of lows?
Yeah, I was maybe like 7 during this time, maybe 8, 9 around there. So I don't really know what happened around there. Don't kill me for not knowing really what happened with that. Or I'll go look it up after this video of what happened, what went down with Ed Orgeron. I know he became the coach after Lane Kiffin, but I guess they fired him after that season, after that stint. So wow, I guess they went with somebody else. I don't know if it was Sark or what, but I have to go look at that for sure.
Yeah, I had to tell the team bye. It was one of the hardest things I ever had to do besides the day I buried my father.
Bro, when you hear coaches, like, my goodness, like it really put they all into this. They judge, jury, executioner and that, but you can't tell me. Well, Kirby's not onto the like Nick Saban status at Alabama, but I feel like he could get there. You know, he doesn't have really that pull. You know, if some players were caught speeding at Alabama, maybe the cop maybe the cop says, "Hey, you know, you play for Alabama, I'll let you go." You know, Georgia Kirby, they ain't got that pull. You know, they still hating kind of Kirby. They don't really like Kirby because maybe he coached at Alabama for a little bit, but he was a Georgia wide receiver, so you know he do got ties, but yeah, like I don't know, just hearing like they really put their all into these kids, man, just recruiting them and yeah, they're their sons. Like shout out Coach JB. I was trying to not mention this boy's name, but I gotta do it. I gotta do it. He a real one, and Coach JB he kind of talks about the passion it takes for these coaches and just like bringing in the high school ranks and then community college JUCO, like how much blame these coaches get, but they don't see like the other half that these coaches are doing to get and bring these kids and just make them better people because sometimes they don't have father figures in there and they got to be the father figure. So yeah, man, shout out Coach JB, shout out Ed Orgeron, and you know shout out Nick, shout out everybody, but not everybody. Shout out to everybody, but not okay. Oh, all right, my bad, my
They
bad.
didn't want me to leave. I became a father-like figure to those young men.
Yeah.
And they counted on me and I counted on them. We left and I was on the plane and I told my wife, I said, besides the day I buried my father, this is the worst day of my life. She goes, no, it's not. And I looked at her, I said, what? She goes, God has a better plan.
Yeah.
I said, it better be good, baby. We just lost a job from USC, and you know what?
See, like everybody thinks USC is a top job, even if you hear Sark. Like, you know, he even thought USC is like, oh, where else would you want to go? That's how Lincoln thinks, and we need Lincoln to stop thinking like that. He cannot think like this no more, Lincoln. Okay, like we know you got. Shoot, it was about like $80 million around there, $70 million to come to USC, and then you get a private jet, you get a house, and then you get $2.5 million to buy another house, maybe. But yeah, it's just like the LA lifestyle. Kill it. It's dead, homie. It doesn't work out as a coach. You need to go recruit and go with the hey, USC's in the hood. Maybe you need to go to the hood and go live and I don't know. Maybe you need to be around danger all the time to make it seem like you know, pressure's on your head. I don't know because it's not kumbaya and go chill at freaking Laguna Beach all the time. It's not that, okay? It's not go chill in Orange County. We get it. It's nice. It's nicer than Oklahoma. Yes. But you were grinding at Oklahoma. You wanted something. I get it. Your defense was bad, but you wanted something. You know, all these coaches, they grinded for something. Don't let USC kill your grind, is what I'm saying. You know, that grind still got to be there. So Urban, as you guys probably saw from the documentary on Netflix, he put it into his players. He's like, hey, we're gonna have 12 a.m. workouts, 1 a.m. workouts with Tebow. And it's gonna be all in. It's not gonna be, you know, lackadaisical workout. No, we gonna go full to the max. You know, and that's how it needs to be over here too. Hey, if you're going out night I'm gonna know if you were at some nightclub or something like that. I'm gonna know if you were dating this TikTok star. I'm gonna know if you're TikTok dancing, and I'm gonna call you out on it. I need that. I need that energy in there. So hopefully, Lincoln, everything goes out all right this year. You got the defense working out. Gary Patterson with the 4.25. It all works out. You know, but that's.
He was right. As you look at everything in the rearview mirror, you can see the overall plan. And the overall plan was for me to come home to LSU and be the head coach.
When you found out from Coach Miles that this was going to happen, that you were going to be a part of this staff,
Yes.
I know
Because he became the intern at LSU too.
I know you well enough to know that in itself
What
was
happened
a
to Les?
huge deal for you.
I was elated. You know, being at USC, being at Miami, being at other schools, Syracuse, being at Ole Miss, I always wanted to coach at LSU.
Yeah.
There was something about this Bayou blood running into me, what it would be like to coach in Tiger Stadium. Every time I passed across the bridge, and did it many times, my head was just doing this. So I just felt unfinished business since I'd quit the team.
Yeah.
And I felt like I wanted to come back here, and my goal was to get back to LSU.
Ooh. At least he found his home, though. Thank you, Ed Orgeron, for showing me through during my life of living what LSU was about. Because Brian Kelly killed it. So hopefully Lane Kiffin can resurrect it to what it was when Ed Orgeron was there, and when they had that Bayou Walk rocking. I don't know what it's called. Don't kill me, but yeah, hopefully everything goes all right. But
This
thank you,
came
Ed.
your way, and you get tabbed as the interim coach. What's going through your mind?
I felt bad for Coach Miles, but I knew this. Being an interim coach before, I knew the team needed me.
The reality of being the head coach and being named the head coach for good,
Yes.
when it's your baby,
Yes.
then what?
You would think it'd be nervousness. You would think it'd be anxiety. It was complete opposite. There was a feeling of peace, a feeling of confidence. We're ready to do this thing.
In a lot of ways, there are those in life that just for whatever reason have to do things the hard way.
Yes.
And it looks like even in your coaching career, it's always been
Always been that way.
yeah. But then the work ethic always got you back.
I always kept on working. I always was able to make adjustments. I always was able to learn on the run and learn
Yeah.
from my mistakes, and hopefully I don't make the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
And my experience at Ole Miss, I know now happened for a reason.
Right.
Obviously, I wasn't ready to be a head coach, but we had done a lot of things there in the recruiting. We did some good stuff, but I wasn't able to be a CEO. It helped me to face that adversity. The 5 years that I waited to be a head coach again, I wrote down some things that I wanted to do better. I implemented that at Southern Cal. It worked very well. I didn't work out there, but I had a plan that God wanted me home, represent my people, come back with my family, and now I'm ready to be a great head coach at LSU.
Oh, this was before, or so I thought it was gonna show when there's this video when he goes around the bayou and people are on the water showing him. It's really cool, showing him the national championship trophy and all that. But Kiffin has stints at USC and Tennessee, so we will see what their stint will be at LSU. Hopefully, it goes at all right, not too all right. I want my Trojans to do better this year. Hopefully, we just don't make it to the college football playoff and just get bounced. I'm hoping we win some games up in there. But if it doesn't, USC pull out the checkbook again and go hire Urban. And with that, I'm gone.